How's it going, everyone? Swanee and Cookie here with another Helldivers 2 news update. Now, there's actually a pretty decent amount of stuff to go over in today's video. The community manager, Twinbeard, has been answering a lot of questions. The former CEO, now CCO, Pilestedt, was asking for some community feedback on Twitter, which got some pretty interesting replies. But before we get into all that, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Honeygain. Honeygain is an app to add to your phone and start making money right away by just having it run in the background. Honeygain uses your internet connection to gather public web data, like pricing info, which helps customers get the best prices online. They will not ask for your personal data or information, and it will have no effect on your browsing experience. Now, Honeygain isn't promising to make you rich by any means, but millions of people use it to cover their small monthly expenses, like maybe Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. And to celebrate Honeygain's 5th birthday, they're giving extra gifts to anyone that signs up by May 31st. Just scan the QR code on screen to follow my exclusive promo link, or use the link in the description, and then use code Swanee to get you a free $5. They also have a referral program where you can get a 25% off bonus from your referral links to help friends enjoy Honeygain as well. Just remember, you have to act fast to get the extra bonuses, because the free $5 and the 25% off bonus on referrals is only good until May 31st. So make sure to take advantage of this offer, and thank you to Honeygain for sponsoring today's video. Now, if you didn't see yesterday's video, we just got a new major order where we have 5 days to liberate the planet of Aurelia 5. So Cookie, why don't you give us an update on that?
So about 24 hours into this major order, we are sitting at around 40% liberated as of recording this video, which means we're well on pace to completing this major order in plenty of time. Although, my expectation would be that this is not exactly going to be as easy as it looks on paper. I would think that there'll be some sort of defend mission or some sort of counterattack by the automatons at some point. But if there isn't, this is going to be a very easy major order, and we should easily get the stratagem that's going to be awarded to us upon its completion.
I think they're kind of just testing out the waters, because right now the player base is obviously a lot lower than what it's normally at, and we've failed a couple of the past major orders. So I feel like, yeah, we're on pace to beat it now, but like you said, I feel like if we beat it too early, then they're going to do a counterattack. But if for some reason we're struggling, I feel like they'll just kind of give it to us, and you know, there probably won't be a counterattack, but I expect that there will definitely be a counterattack.
Yeah, based on the progress we're making so far, I think you're right. I think this was kind of calculated as a smart major order for them to do at this point, where they have the flexibility to maybe counterattack if it looks like it's going to be too easy, but also if for some reason Helldivers are just not that interested, then they don't have to do any kind of a counterattack. So I think this is a good idea on their part to have a major order like this, where they have that flexibility to make it harder or easier depending on how the population is playing it.
Plus, they want players to have something new to play with right now. Like, while we're waiting on the next big update, they want us to have a new toy to play with.
Yeah, but I don't imagine they'll make it this easy for us. I'm sure they'll give us some sort of resistance.
So over on Twitter, Pilestedt, the former CEO, now CCO, was asking for some community feedback on Twitter. He said, okay, give me your best Helldivers 2 Eagle stratagem ideas. And then he later responded and said, there are so many great ideas, keep them coming. Also, this is way more fun than a conference room brainstorming. Let's see if any gets picked up. So if you guys have any Eagle airstrike stratagem ideas, make sure you go over to Twitter and hit him up in the replies.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interesting ideas already. He's replied to a few of them. I think this one is the one that I found to be one of the more interesting and creative ideas I saw. It's by Edward Lewis. Said, I don't know if it has to be an Eagle strike, but something to deny enemies from reinforcing for like a minute or two would be very strategically useful. Pilestedt replied saying, cool idea, like a disruption beacon, similar to what the bots have. I think that would be really creative, and like Pilestedt brought up, the automatons have something similar, and that would help people massively. Like, just to be like, all right, we'll have a guaranteed like 2-minute break here from being constantly attacked.
Yeah, that would be pretty neat. I don't know how that would work against the Terminids lore-wise, but I'm sure they can figure something out. But that would be nice.
There was another reply to Pilestedt's tweet that's interesting for a couple different reasons. The tweet says a heavy bomber carpet bomb with high cooldown would be sweet, and Pilestedt responded with yes, ... thinking emoji, and showed a picture of a Super Earth bomber from the files of Helldivers 2. This is interesting for a lot of different reasons. Someone else commented shortly after saying, I feel like I've seen pieces of this wrecked on the map, with a picture of what appears to be a broken up Super Earth heavy bomber, and Pilestedt said, indeed. So this is clearly something that's in the works, in other words, in some capacity, and Pilestedt didn't mind sharing that with everybody, which is pretty interesting because it's basically a leak. There hasn't been anything about this before.
Yeah, so maybe it's a hint as to what's to come in the future.
Yeah, and this is an interesting strategy too. Like we've talked about the leaks in the past and how there was so many for such a long time and how there's been a lot overall and how Arrowhead hasn't cracked down on that at all, making me think it was actually part of the plan. So this kind of makes me think that even more, that they're just willing to throw the leaks out there and be like, hey, here's something we're kind of playing around with. It's cool to see. I mean, Pilestedt is the CCO now. Obviously, he's got more hands-on the operations, and that's what he's been talking about. And it's off to a good start. This is engaging with the community, getting ideas from the community, letting them know if it's something they're considering or not.
Yeah, it's definitely a good step in the right direction. So now heading over to the Discord side of things, Twinbeard, the community manager, has been answering a ton of the community's questions. We have this one that says, there is a small debate regarding the SEAF support. If we liberate the related planets, will we have that bonus back, or is it gone for good? Now, if you don't know what he was talking about here, there is a planetary bonus where if we take a certain amount of planets or specific planets, it will give us a bonus to the capture rate of, other planets, which is never really explained in the game. And Twinbeard responds saying the specific 5% bonus Vernon Wells contributed with is not coming back if the planet is liberated. The automatons have destroyed it all. However, Heath, Angel's Venture, and Acer Pass still have their bases intact. If those are lost, the bonus goes away. There may be other chances to establish new bases / bonuses going forward, but our enemies may also erect equipment that will affect our liberation capabilities.
Yeah, this is something I think is kind of dumb, personally. I think this is way too overcomplicated. I don't know if this is really worth having, these little bonuses that help liberation of other planets. I mean, I guess it makes sense lore-wise, but if you're going to do something like this, it's got to be a lot clearer, because frankly, that's just very confusing, especially with no reason for people to know that this is a thing outside of looking on Reddit and seeing people that did extra research.
I didn't even know about this until I saw people talking about it on Reddit. I was like, what kind of bonus? What do you mean a bonus?
Yeah, and it's a very small bonus, like 5%. I think this is all very overcomplicated.
I'm fine with them adding bonuses. They just have to communicate it more, which is what somebody brought up on Discord. They said, any reason why the liberation bonus doesn't show up on the effect screen? I highly doubt many know it even exists. And Twinbeard said, regions smesions. Let's just say we'll make that more clear in the not so distant future, because we will. So it does look like they're making plans to, make this a lot more obvious with the user interface, so that's definitely good.
Somebody else commented on that saying the game could definitely benefit from more clarity. Supply lines, weapon stats, support weapon stats, the whole nine, unless hiding this stuff is beneficial. Twinbeard responded saying there will be, maybe not all of it or at the same time, but we're making good progress there. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of been one of the major issues that this game has had, is that there's a lot of stuff that's not communicated that's a pretty big, important part of the game, especially with the galactic map and how planets are taken and what can make it faster, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely, in its current state, it's very hard to ask the whole community to get on board with, like, one objective. There's no communication, so some people are attacking the wrong planets and they don't realize you have to take this planet to get to the next planet. And yeah, if they have some sort of supply lines in the future, I think that will help get everybody on board as to what we're supposed to be doing.
So it's been a while since the last major patch, over 2 weeks actually, and there's been a lot of talk about when this next big patch is going to come out all over Discord. And this one comment got an interesting reply from Twinbeard that I wanted to kind of focus on. This person said, I get that patches are taking longer to ensure quality, but is there any room to share any of the proposed updates with the community at the moment? Even just sharing planned stat changes with the community would go a long way to calm the community instead of letting them still. And Twinbeard responds saying, you're twisting my arm here. As much as I would like to, we really can't go into detail. If I said something to tease, it'd so easily lead to wild speculation. So let me think. What I/we can say is that we've already stated that we want to take some more time between the latest and the upcoming patch. This does not mean this will be the patch to rule all other patches. We hope it will be good, but it's mostly us wanting to cool things down a bit and take our time with things since they were moving too quickly, which had an effect on quality. A longer time frame between patches is likely to remain the case going forward, as we believe this will benefit both us, the game, and therefore also all you players. What I do believe we missed out on a bit is to communicate this more clearly. I think we should have explained the why and how a bit better. Again, things were moving too fast and it's an easy one to miss. I'm hardly overstepping any boundaries by saying there'll be some balancing, some new stuff, some improved stuff, and the overdue and anticipated patrols and spawn rate reversion in the next patch. More detail than that, and someone would have my head or beard. Have a nice weekend.
Wow, so there's a lot to unpack right there.
Quite a bit, yeah.
I think the big thing, though, is that he pointed out that all these updates are going to be taking this long or longer going forward, which is a pretty big change compared to what we're used to with this game.
Yeah, I don't know if that means, like, I would assume that they'll still have the little patches for crash fixes and stuff, or for emergency type stuff, because they usually seem to put crashes under that umbrella, although currently there's a ton of crashes in the game, and we haven't had a crash fix in about, what has it been, like, it's been at least a week, or a little over a week since the last, like, mini hotfix. So I don't know if that includes stuff like that or not, but I don't know how to feel about this, because it's both good and bad. Because it's good because maybe that means the next patch won't be broken. It's bad because we can see the dwindling numbers right now as people wait on this patch to hopefully revive the game. And he kind of even says that this isn't the patch to rule all other patches, so I don't know that it's going to be big enough to do that anyway.
Yeah.
It's a weird balancing act here.
That stood out to me, too. Like, I think a lot of people are going to be expecting this to be a gigantic patch, and if there's not that many big changes that are significant enough and buff a lot of these weapons, that's not going to bring back a lot of players. Plus, with them taking a lot longer to update the game and have these big balancing changes, if they screw something up or if they do something that the community hates, it's just going to take that much longer to fix it and get it up in the next update. So let's say they completely nerf everyone's favorite weapon and the whole community's in an uproar. It's going to take even longer to get that fixed now. That's going to suck. So we don't know yet. I mean, them taking their time with these patches, it could result in having good, quality updates, but we're just going to have to wait and see, I guess.
I feel like they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't here. Because if they do it quickly, they're more likely to screw it up again, which they've already had as a huge problem with the game overall. But if they take this long, player interest is going to decline so quickly. So I hope it works, but I'm concerned that this is taking too long for player interest. But I don't know what choice they have. They can't keep putting out patches that aren't good and tend to mess up the game more than help it. So they got to take their time.
You basically just have to trust them and hope that them focusing on quality will actually translate into having good quality updates.
Yeah, he also went on to say, like, about communication again and how this has been an ongoing problem. Like, I think we talked about 2 or 3 different times in just this video, communication being an issue. And that's definitely something Arrowhead has struggled with immensely, I would say, since the game came out. Is communication has been a bit of a problem for them. So definitely an improvement they need to make too. And on that note, someone had commented asking if they would be interested in starting dev streams in the future, and Twinbeard said that's already in well advanced plans. Really hope we can get some of that started come fall. That would be a start. That would definitely help with the communication issues they've had if they have more dev streams and stuff, although fall is pretty far away.
See, the dev streams, they're always hit and miss with certain games because it's a great way to communicate. It's a great way to answer questions live. It's a great way to update us on their plans of like balancing changes and why they're making these changes and stuff. That's always good. But a lot of these companies that do these dev streams, they always miss the mark and they always pick and choose which questions they want to ask ahead of time so that they already have their pre-planned answers. So I don't know. I hope that these dev streams will better communicate things in the future. But yeah, like you said, fall is pretty far away, and let's hope that they can retain this the player base until the fall.
Yeah, and that's not looking too good right now as it continues to rapidly decline by the day. So unfortunately, it looks like a lot of that's going to rely on this patch that he went on to say is not the patch to rule all other patches. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
I'm going to try to remain optimistic. I have a feeling that this is going to be a good update with some decent balancing changes. I hope I'm right. I hope I'm not wrong, because then it's going to be pretty rough after that.
I mean, I think you're probably right. It's probably going to be a good patch. I just don't know if it's going to be good enough to reverse what's been going on lately. I think that's kind of unlikely that it's going to revive the game on its own, but hopefully it can maybe stop the bleeding. Mm-hmm. That would be a start.
They're going to have to slowly climb their way back up to where they were. And it all started with that Sony drama, which still isn't resolved.
Still not fixed.
Yeah. So
I
the Sony
can't
thing
believe
really,
that hasn't been fixed.
yeah, that's crazy to me too.
My prediction for that was going to be fixed like within the week, and I was absolutely wrong. I totally underestimated the incompetence.
Sony's
I guess.
stupidity.
Sony and Valve not getting that figured out is pretty wild to me. That would make a gigantic difference if that would get fixed. But
Yeah, that's part of the reason why the player base is going down so much, is that like most of these countries still don't have access to the game, so you're losing out on hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of players.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't understand why. I don't get business. I just don't like what under what circumstance would this be smart to keep this problem. Yeah, that's outside of Arrowhead's control, of course.
So that's going to do it for everything in today's video. If you guys are new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. That way you don't miss out on any future Helldivers 2 news videos. If you guys made it this far, then please consider giving this video a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated and it helps us out in the algorithm. And that is going to do it for us, and we will talk to you guys in the next video.